I've been busy searching through the highs and lows. I could walk for miles and miles and days, but still not know. I can't go back to blindly seeing. I've heard the voices in this way of liberty. Same day, same place, same pain, same face. Put on those old dance records, we'll be having fast fun. Life's been heavy, now I'm ready for the heavy be done. Weight's been busy building on the shoulders of buried giants who've been looking for love. Oh, the heavy be done. It starts before I wake, that feeling low. I feed my soul fast fun for days, but still not grow. It holds me back. It's hard to see this open chest of old regrets, forgotten dreams. Same day, same place, same pain, same face. Put on those old dance records, we'll be having fast fun. Life's been heavy, now I'm ready for the heavy be done. Weight's been busy building on the shoulders of buried giants who've been looking for love. Oh, the heavy be done. Oh, the heavy be done. Well, good morning. Oh, that was cool. Will you repeat any word? You all look beautiful today. Thanks for being here. Oh, thank you. I knew this was going to be a good thing. Right. There we go. Well, thanks to Joel. Thanks for everybody that put this together and having me out today. It's such a privilege to be here. Today, I get to talk about the intersection of two of my favorite things, music and art. So my connection with rhythm goes back a long way. I've been playing music since I was a teenager and drawing since I was a kid. So today, I'm going to take a little time to talk about tapping into my own creativity, connecting with the people in the world around me, finding my rhythmic balance and creative pulse. So when I talk about rhythm today, I want everybody to think about movement, flow, forming healthy habits, and creating and collaborating. All right, so we're going to start off, move to your own rhythm. I think there's a full saying, move to your rhythm and not the beat of someone else's drum. So for me, this really means not waiting for permission. Don't wait for people to come to you. Make your own opportunities and build on them. For years, I personally waited for somebody to give me permission to create art, to create music. That permission never really came. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else, maybe. But I drew a lot as a kid. I was into comic books, as Joel mentioned. I would try creating my own designs and character designs. And then I found guitar as a teenager. But I stopped drawing for a long time between high school and college, had other priorities, other things came up. And it wasn't until around 2010 that a band I was playing in needed some artwork. And we had no money because we were a band. There's not a lot of money in bands, especially indie bands. So that was my moment where I decided to seize the opportunity to create my own artwork. Was not very good at the time, especially looking back. It's a little challenging to look at some of that artwork from that period. But somebody saw something in it. My band gave me the opportunity to do it. They were kind enough to let me do that. And that led to other bands asking me to do artwork. Because again, bands don't have money and I was cheap. So after doing some artwork for other bands, that led to some music venues wanting for artwork. Shout out to Lincoln Theater for hiring me very early on to do some t-shirt work. And that's really when I allowed myself to pursue my artistic journey. I'd like to think part of having good rhythm, we're going to stick with this rhythm metaphor, so hopefully we're all invested right now. But I think part of having good rhythm is being open to what's happening around us and leaning into it, leaning into those moments along the way, and really not being afraid to fail. And let me tell you, there were a lot of failures. But we'll save that for another session. All right. So a little bit about me. I'm a self-taught designer, illustrator, musician, and a certified project manager, based right here in North Carolina. My Bruce Wayne is I'm a senior project manager at Red Hat, and my Batman is I'm a constant creative. Why do I mention that? I really think it's important. I don't think enough people talk about creatives aren't necessarily one thing. You can be multiple things. And for me, it took a while to find that rhythm, but it's an evolution, but I feel like I've found a rhythm in between project management, music, and design. And it's a really cool thing when you can find that rhythmic balance between those multiple aspects of your life. All right, but today we're going to focus on the creative stuff. All right. So this is some work that I've done over the years, and really one of my favorite things about art is getting to connect and collaborate with all types of people and businesses. To use the music, to go back to the music metaphor, it's like getting to jam out with all types of people from different genres, with different approaches, and figuring out how to get your own personal style and things like that in their world. I also like to think I learn something with every project, every person I work with, and I bring a new approach to the next project that I work on. To think about with music, after jamming with different people, I think the next time I go to take a guitar solo, I have a different approach, different way I approach that. And then with design work, I think in the ideation process, I come with a new informative approach as well. As Joel mentioned, I've worked with a bunch of music festivals, Dreamville Festival, IBMA World of Bluegrass, Hopscotch, Artsplosion, different bands from hip hop with J. Cole to country with Luke Combs to rock with Chris Shiflett of the Foo Fighters, and locally with organizations like Visit Raleigh, Red Hat Amphitheater, Performing Arts Center, and my alma mater, NC State. Go Pack. All right. And this leads to another one of my personal mantras. It's create the art you want to see. Show people you can do the work. And I found that that's really the best way to get the conversation going, to get your foot in the door. And to illustrate that, I'm going to take you on a multi-year journey. So after several years of occasionally doing design work for my friends and other bands, I really wanted to push myself artistically. So that takes me back to 2016, finding my rhythmic journey. So in an effort to create some good drawing habits, to stretch myself in my creative muscles, I challenged myself to draw every day for an entire month. The result was this new, wacky and wild psychedelic alphabet and some new drawing habits. All right, it might look a little bit like manic sketching, but trust me, it's going to go somewhere. So shortly after, I decided to take that alphabet and make some t-shirts and make some prints. And when I did that, we've got a lot of awesome shops in town. So I decided to go from shop to shop and try and sell these t-shirts and get them in these stores. It worked in some places, it didn't work in some places. But one place specifically was a men's boutique off Person Street called Lumina. They liked it, they agreed to carry the stuff, and that led to a collaboration doing a Lumina t-shirt using my alphabet. Also, just wanted to say, shout out to all my friends. Part of being a musician, part of being a creative locally, part of having an awesome community here is getting to lean on friends to be models in photos. So shout out to Tab 1 from Cooley High, shout out to Boulevards, and Fred Eldringham, who's one of the best drummers in the world. And also Autumn Brand here and Justin Miller. All right. Yeah, so we did the t-shirt. That also led to creating some prints with phrases like live wild, be your own drug, because that's where I was at the time. And then that led to 2018, where I had the opportunity with Artsplosion to do a art proposal. So what we did was propose what ended up being the biggest art installation that I've done to date, a 44-foot wide by 6-foot tall, wacky letters out in the field at Dix Park during Dreamville Fest, the debut Dreamville Fest. So cool thing, we're riding this rhythmic wave. They approved it, and in 2019, we had the letters at the festival. So once it was approved, I had the opportunity to create some custom letters for Dreamville, specific to the fest, which was such a cool opportunity. It was great to see, one, the talent that it brought to the city. I think there was 40,000 people in attendance that first year, and just the energy that it brought downtown into Dix Park. For me, this was a milestone in my career that would continue into 2022. It was a privilege to be associated with the fest. And when things are really locked in and flowing, you can't stop there. So later that year after the festival, had the opportunity to work with Artsplosion and Jed Gant to do a Art of Dreamville installation at Transfer Co. Food Hall, which was pretty new at that time. So shout out to Jed. The event also included some brilliant art from Sean Kernick and Derek Coulter, two also amazing artists from the area who had artwork at the festival as well that year. And apologies to Visit Raleigh, I stole this off your website. Hopefully that's cool. This was another validating moment in my artistic journey, to be able to have my artwork displayed in such a public place where families would see it routinely. And Transfer Co's, it's not just a food hall, but it's also a gathering place for the community. So it's extra special that it still resides there. And this is probably the one I get hit up the most about. It's like, is that your art? Did you do that? All right, but wait, there's more. I had the opportunity to collaborate with the folks at Red Hat Amphitheater in 2021 to create some special holiday-themed letters for an experience that we're bringing downtown. The Rink. All right, so this was another fun one. And again, it's another experience where I really enjoy seeing people interact with the art. I think that's something I missed a lot during COVID, was that interaction. But these are art installations in public spaces. It's such a treat to see people interact, to see families post pictures and really experience the art versus them one-on-one without me knowing what's going on. All right, so I shared all that to mention the moving to my own rhythm thing. So creating this wacky psychedelic alphabet and the subsequent creative endeavors culminated into a gig with an international brand. Bacardi. Is it too early? It's Friday, right? Okay. So this was another one. There was an art installation at Dreamville Festival in 2022, excuse me. And this was an interactive art installation. So this was actually a community mural, talking about that interaction. This was one people throughout the weekend got to fill in, color, write on, draw on, and really make it a communal piece. It was a total trip hanging out throughout the weekend. I was trying not to be strange, like taking pictures, but I'm totally taking pictures of people. And it was a trip. And one of the coolest parts for me is Bacardi's slogan, do what moves you. I felt really ties into the mantras of move to your own rhythm and create the content you want to see. All right, throughout that time, I was also working on lots of other projects, playing in bands, writing, recording, connecting and collaborating with artists and musicians and businesses. All right, which brings us to our final slide. Connect, collaborate, and cultivate community. And this is really esoteric, but we make us. And I wanted to end on this. One, I've been fortunate enough as I look around the room, there's a lot of people that I've been able to connect with, collaborate with over the years. A lot of people doing awesome stuff in our community. I think through creative collaborations, we're creating our community in the form of community events, concerts, festivals, art markets, communal art like murals and art installations. And these are really the things that make our community unique. It drives the energy of our city. It makes us a desirable place to be. So to end, art, music, creation, the creative communities that we cultivate, it's the pulse, it's the heartbeat, it's the rhythm. Thank you. Oh, the best. And I don't know if they're here, but to say thanks, I did want to do 2 giveaways. I brought some records and comics. We drew some random numbers last night, and I think these were the numbers associated with the registration. I don't know if Anjali is here. Yes. All right. And Tony, I don't know if Tony's here. Yeah. Feel free to come grab them now. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
That's so great.
Thank you for being here. Q&A?
Another round of applause for George. So, the fun thing, you're so tall. All right. For those of you that have been here before, like the real fun and beautiful thing after these talks is having Q&A and having a lot of time for it. And we try to make space for that. So I appreciate George coming out to talk, and we talked about leaving a lot of space for Q&A today. So with that said, George is going to hang out up here. I'm going to run a mic for anybody that has a question to kick us off. Yeah.
So you said by day you're a project manager and at night you're a creator. So I was wondering if you could talk about how do you find the rhythm between those 2 jobs, and how do you maintain sanity?
You don't. No, I think the real answer is, for me at least, is creativity. You can't just turn it on and off. I find myself kind of working in a loop sometimes. After 5, there's no super hard rule, but I try to work on things here and there. So I'll work a little bit on a drawing project, or I'll play guitar for a little bit, and kind of find where the flow is happening, where the rhythmic is naturally moving. And from there, I'll work till my heart desires, basically. So my wife can tell you, I routinely go to sleep after midnight. I love art, I love creating, and I feel like that's really what drives me.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
If you had to choose between one of your 2 loves,
Not fair.
One of them had to go away, which one would it be?
I don't have kids, but I feel like this is like picking your favorite kid. They're one and the same, man. I feel like we've had this. This is Mike Rosado, by the way, very talented artist, designer in town. I feel like I've had this discussion, maybe you and I late at night before, but they're one and the same to me. They're so interconnected that they really drive each other. I don't think I could pick one or the other.
Hi. I've seen your installation piece right there, and I'm thinking about the fact that when you're done putting the installations up and the event is done, do you have to give up that art, or do you have to find for it, or how do you at the end of the art being there, how do you deal with the fact that it's now being taken down and might not be seen again?
Yeah, there's always a kind of sadness that comes over you when something is done. And it's something I've had to figure out kind of as I go. Some events, they want to keep the artwork and put it in a dark closet for eternity. And some events, I'm able to kind of talk to them in advance of being able to keep some of the stuff. Like these letters, I was able to talk to them after it was used the first 2 years to basically take them and put them in my garage instead of a storage unit. And I break them out periodically for things like this. During COVID, I was doing all kinds of home performances, home concerts where they made the perfect backdrop. But it just depends on the event. It depends on who you're working with. I personally hate the idea of something sitting in a dark closet for eternity. And if I can get the artwork or the material, I try to do that. But generally, the people I work with, they're paying for it. So sometimes they want to keep it, or sometimes the client that they're working with wants to keep it for their own use. So.
Hi.
Hey.
Annalise, Conduit for Change. You are beautiful.
You are as well. Thank you.
Thank you. George, this is so special, and so special being here, so close up. I really was moved by your personal reaction and response when you were sharing how important this was to you. I can feel that this is your mission. It's your ministry, in a way. So I have a couple of things to notice. Have you considered creating a children's book series? And have you considered stretching beyond, because when I think about children's books, somehow I just thought about virtual reality.
Ooh.
To like step into your world, and that picture is really making me feel that. You know, your world is around you, and I sense like I want to dive into your space.
I love that idea.
And then my question about this is, when you think about coming to your own edge, you obviously did not imagine that you would do these little sketches and it would lead you on this journey. So I think all of us can relate to, we have to have a plan, and we have to also abort the plan just to see where the thread of inspiration is going to take us. So do you have an edge idea or edge vision that you hope might one day come to life?
Yeah, I'll start with the children's book. That is definitely on the list. And the closest thing to date is in 2020, I had the opportunity to collaborate with 30 different artists from around the world to create a comic book. It's not necessarily geared to children, but it's totally accessible to kids. I think that's the closest thing that I've done to date, and probably where my passions currently lie is I love comic books still. I love the collaboration with the comic books. I think at some point a children's book would be awesome. I've got it kind of on my long list of things I'd love to do. As far as the edge idea or the augmented reality, being able to immerse yourself in the art, had the opportunity to go to some of the NC State College of Design events where they had a focus on augmented reality, and that really opened me up to that idea, because that was not something I thought about in college or even as an adult until I started seeing more of that. I love the idea. It's not something I've pursued yet. I know there's music festivals that are doing augmented reality type things, and art installations that are augmented reality. And that idea is where you can take your phone, for people that don't know what it is, or some kind of glasses, and you can see things that aren't physically there. But through your phone, you could see my artwork or things like that in the space. That's something I love and would love to do at some point. And my wife and I do a dream big periodically. So when you say the edge idea, I think kind of that dream big. I haven't had the mental space to dream big as much lately. I think kind of short term, it's working with, in collaborating with different artists. There's some musicians I would love to do work for. Jack White would be phenomenal, Spoon. That list goes on and on. But at this point, I'm just kind of riding that rhythmic wave of what opportunities are there. I think the really cool thing, I know there's a lot of negative conversation about Raleigh growing, and justly in a lot of ways, but I think one of the really cool things about our city growing is the opportunities that it brings. I'm hopeful we're going to see more music festivals, that the music festivals we have will continue to thrive and grow. And I'm hoping as new businesses, new people, we've got new ideas coming in that I can't even think of right now. So we'll see where it goes, basically.
We all love a believer in Raleigh, so just like a round of applause for that. I'm actually, sometimes I steal the mic and I ask a question myself, so
I love
I'm
it.
going to do that. So, following a rhythm doesn't necessarily mean you're not pushing your own boundaries, but a lot of your work does sort of like evolve from situations in which you have found yourself in, working on, music posters and,
Yep.
and things that you are familiar with. Not that you're not pushing your own boundaries, but I'm curious, what was the last time that you worked on a project that like really just like floored you at the start, like was far enough outside of your comfort zone that you sort of had to do a real take, and how did you sort of deal with that?
I mean, I'll be honest, I think almost every project I have that oh crap moment at the start when I'm looking at that blank, not sheet of paper anymore, I work digitally on an iPad, but when I'm looking at that white screen on my iPad in Procreate, there's that oh crap, like, do I remember how to do this? Can I do this? How do I do this again? And then you just start going. I mean, pretty much everything I talked about today, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think there's a fearlessness to being a creative. I think there's I see it in a lot of my peers and friends, the willingness to dive in, being like, oh yeah, I can do that. And be like, I've never done that before. And I think that willingness or openness to falling flat on your face is pretty cool. I don't know, I don't see that in a lot of jobs, but I feel like being a creative allows for that, and there's a comfort zone for that. So yeah, it all the time, forever and ever. That's my answer.
Right, no, it's comforting, very comforting. Another question?
Teamwork.
Must get flat and Baton Rouge. I can't have a microphone. You have done so many amazing things in your life. I'm so impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Is there one that just stands out so much?
Whew. I think it depends on the moment of what I remember in that moment. There's been a lot of highlights. I mean, right now is a highlight, getting to talk to all of you coming to hang out with me this morning. Friday early in the morning? Who thought of that? Can we do this on like Wednesdays at 8 p.m. next time? We'll do beers after. I don't know, lots of highlights. I think musically, getting to tour internationally was something I never thought I'd have the opportunity to do. Going to Japan with an old emo rock band that I played with, getting to go to Europe with American Aquarium in 2017, getting to see parts of the country. I think that's the coolest thing. One of the coolest things of playing music is being a nomad and getting to see all these different places. I highly recommend seeing different places if you ever get the opportunity. I'm sure a lot of you have already, but I think just getting to meet different people is always one of my favorite things of music, of art. I love creating art. It's such a solo thing. When I was doing it full-time freelance, I was spending 8 to 10 hours a day in my office by myself. I would have to be reminded to stand up and have you gone outside today? So I think it's really awesome when you get the opportunity to do things like this, to get out, to see people interact with your art. Music, it's a little easier. With visual art, you don't always get that chance. Hey.
Hi. I just want to acknowledge the fact that well as an artist, creative, extraordinaire. This is a beautiful blend, and I aspire to that level, so thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Mary Oliver talks about how the wild, silky parts of ourselves, the creative side, the juicy side, needs discipline, right? To show up, to trust us, to create with us. You mentioned briefly a new type of habits that you created in 2017 to launch you into the alphabet work that you did that then gave you all of this goodness. What habits did you create, and how did you regulate your nervous system to that?
Yeah, I will add, my journey is my journey. I think it's important to figure out what works for everyone individually. But for me, going into project management at a school was such a blessing. Taking classes on like time management and change management and financial management and risk and issue management. I know you're all here for this moment right now. Was something I never thought about, and I feel like we need more classes in high school and college on this kind of stuff because it's really, really important. And I feel like as creatives, as artists, I feel like it's something I don't hear a lot of people talking about. When you go to form your own LLC, I still don't know if I did the paperwork right. Hopefully I did. And that kind of stuff, it's just with the project management side, I think just the organizational piece was huge habit forming. I had to do it for my day job, and I was able to carry that over into art and over into music. And my band sometimes laughs at me when I send spreadsheets and project plans on getting deliverables done with timelines and holding them accountable for the deliverables. It's a fun experience. But as far as the drawing, it was really important for me. I feel like I've heard people say you can form a habit in 30 days. I think it's true, it worked for me, but I really wanted to draw more, and I was struggling to find time and to motivate myself to do it, so I thought I'd start small. So I started small with 30 minutes a day, and I thought I'll just draw one letter. And by the end of the month, I'll have a full alphabet, and if I don't miss any days, I'll have some extra letters as well. So that's what I did. So I drew every day for 30 minutes. And by the end of the month, I felt myself wanting to draw more, wanting to create more. That worked for me. I think it could work for others, I don't know, but that's what worked for me. And I feel like that really catapulted me into feeling comfortable drawing more, to spending a couple hours a day working on projects. So, yep.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. Danny,
all right.
Rosie.
Uh-oh. Did anyone vet this question in advance?
Yeah, just one, I want to say thanks to Cam Raleigh for having us back in this creative space.
Yes.
Feels good. You're here. It's really awesome. Second, I want to say I'm a little bit sad that you didn't mention that you opened for Hall & Oates. Band together back in the day.
That was a very special moment. That's one of my highlights, going back to the highlight question. Working with Danny and band together and having the opportunity to open for the Hall & Oates. I didn't personally get to meet him, but some of my band met Daryl Hall and John Oates. He didn't have the mustache though, but it was still an incredible, incredible evening. So thanks for putting that together.
No doubt, and thanks for being a part of it. Third, I want to say I think this community needs more Georges. I really mean that, and it's nice to see you stand up here and Mike over there and people who know and do music and art and collaborate in ways that you all do. My question for you is about Raleigh and supporting arts and the fact that we need to support arts more and better. What are your big ideas? How can we support the art community so there are more Georges in this community?
Man, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you asked that as well. So I've had the privilege over the past couple years to join a couple boards. One is the Artsplosion Board. They do some phenomenal events downtown. Artsplosion generally in May, and First Night Raleigh coming up for New Year's Eve. They also do tons of other events, projects, and things in the community. So I think one of the biggest things you can do is support those events, support the artists that are at those events. They always do art markets and things like that. The other board that I've had the opportunity to join was the NC State Fans Board. So Friends of the Arts at NC State. There is so much amazing art, dance, music, concert series that are happening on NC State's campus, right down the street. Some of the things are free. They've got a center there that teaches classes that you don't have to be a student to attend. There's all types of performances. We got some wonderful people from NC State here as well that you can talk to. Hey, Mark. So I think supporting those things as well. I think you've got people at a young age coming out of college. NC State doesn't have a lot of formal arts programs. So these are engineers, these are non-arts degree programs that are going to be out in our community working. So I think supporting them, showing them that their art has a place is very valuable.
Good answer, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Danny. Thank you again to George. Keep it going for George.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all for coming.